What if the reason you hold yourself back isn't your personality, but is unresolved programming from your relationship with dad? In this episode, we break down a series of powerful dreams that all point to one surprising theme: rejecting masculine energy. And through dreams about attractive men, collapsing buildings, giant fish, family homes, and even washing dishes with dad, we reveal how childhood experiences shape confidence, leadership, boundaries, spiritual gifts, and even your ability to step into your purpose. But the deeper insight is this: your dreams don't just expose the wound, they show you when the healing has actually started. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. It's going to be a great show. But before we dive into the dreams, I just want to remind you that our mentorship program has started. We still have a little room left if you would like to join us.
All right, that's dream-analysis.com/Sandy if you think it might be for you and you want to find out, talk to Sandy.
These dreams are fun dreams. So we're going to start with the first one, which is from Fred, and it's titled Cleaning a Room. I'm in a class and I notice an Asian guy who is attractive and comes over to talk. He's very nice and educated. I am looking forward to seeing him next class. There's a couple of us cleaning and organizing the room. I have a box that I am throwing out that has some stuff in it that I do not need. I pick out most of it, clothes and old junk to toss, and my sister comes over and jokes, "Let me see whatever you have you don't want so I could take it." That's all she needs is more junk. I think I should toss it when she's not watching. I think about the Asian guy and know that hooking up with him is not good since I'm married. All righty.
All right, so we've seen this type of dream before. The focus is on reconnecting with masculine energy, clearly. And we see the masculine is represented by a good looking Asian guy, and that's good in the dream. If it's a good looking person, somebody you are interested in, absolutely excellent. But does he hook up with him at the end? No. Does he connect? No. He's an excuse not to. And this is almost always what we see. The connection is not made despite the desire. And in the dream here, it's, oh, I'm married. And so it feels like, oh, good for me. I held myself back. But all that matters is, because this is a dream, all that matters is that you held yourself back. It doesn't matter what the reason given in the dream. Obviously, that tells us something about what you need to work on. But holding yourself back is the bad thing. You shouldn't hold yourself back in a dream. I asked him about the sister. He said, yes, she's a hoarder. And what would that be then? A family hoarder is a family holding on to what I want to get rid of. Or to put it another way, I hold on to family influence that I should drop. So that's what he needs to do. Question, Sandy.
Yeah, so we've got a class. So he's cleaning a classroom. So what's going on with the classroom?
So it's good that he's cleaning. This is clearing out stuff. And in the context of the attractive guy, it's like, oh, so okay, I'm working on issues around dad. That's what he's doing at this moment in time, working on issues around dad. And so we want to see that progress where we see the masculine showing up in the dreams. And then we want to see the clearing out, the getting rid of family influences. And so we see here in the dream that is happening with the clearing. But we see, oh, here's an issue. My sister, so family influence, is causing me to hold on to things that I actually want to get rid of. And so it's a fantastic thing. When you're in therapy and you see something like this, it's like, excellent. Things are converging in a beautiful way and forcing the issue, making it happen in your subconscious, making the clearing happen. So very, very positive to have that clearing and cleaning and organizing showing up in the dream. Organizing, managing and things like that, they're all masculine energy too. So to see it being done positively is stepping into the positive side of the masculine energy scale.
Wow, that's beautiful. All righty. Next dream is titled Forgetting a Colleague's Name. And once again, it's from Fred.
But this is from the same dreamer. And notice how the masculine and feminine show up in this dream before I explain it. What can you tell from how it shows up? Because we already know from the last dream what's going on.
Yeah. So that's exciting to see this. Okay. I was in my family home in my parents' bedroom talking to one of my staff, a female, about something when John, a colleague who always told me the truth, came out of the bathroom and insisted on inputting something into the conversation. I told her that was my colleague John, and even though I had known her for years, forget her name, I apologized and asked her to tell me her name. I was frustrated and racked my brain trying to remember her name.
So we know Fred is working on the masculine. Prior to this, he worked on his feminine. And look what we have right here at the start. I am talking to one of my staff, a female. So do you know what that means?
No, what does that mean? Is that his female side coming out? What's going on?
Feminine side. So it is his feminine side working for him because she is now on his staff. So it's great to see how the dream shows it though, because you can't argue with that. My feminine side is now working for me. And he couldn't have had a dream if you paid to have a dream that showed that in the past. It only shows up when you do the work. But we know this dream is about issues. He starts off in his family home, never a good sign because you shouldn't be back there. And when in your life will you be in your parents' bedroom talking to a staff member? Never. That's never going to happen. So the dream is really about the influence of Fred's parents on life today. But which parent?
That's the question. I'd like to know which parent. Is it dad? I'm saying that because the feminine is working, but how do we know in this dream that it's dad? Oh, John?
Well, yeah. So the man comes out of the bathroom and Fred is thrown off his stride when the man comes out of the bathroom. He becomes forgetful, frustrated, and apologetic. Now, that would be enough. But look at the trait he specifically lists, a man who always tells the truth. And that sounds okay, doesn't it? But when you see
Mm-mm.
something like this in a dream, you ask Fred, did dad always tell the truth? And then you step back and you wait for the barrage of you getting educated. And he said, oh, yeah, dad used his truth as a weapon to hurt others. Dad always insulted people. He interjected himself into conversations and blew them up. And I was always embarrassed by dad's cutting remarks. And he shared, for instance, I never played cards because dad was a jerk when you're playing cards. He would say that move was a really stupid move. Why did you do that? And then ultimately, he said, I got frightened around dad because I never knew what he would say. So if he had friends around, he had anybody around, his dad could just explode with his truths. It's very interesting how dreams show it. But all of the things combined, the getting flustered, getting forgetful, and the man interjecting into a conversation, didn't get invited. It's just like, hey, here I am. Tell me who this is you're talking to.
I find it very interesting that John comes out of the bathroom and insisted on inputting something into the conversations between Fred and his staff member.
So the bathroom is about elimination of something. So who comes out of the bathroom? We have this forceful truth teller. Let's call him a jerk because he has all the traits dad has. And so that's what he's trying to get rid of. He's not successful. We already know he's not successful because the dream has taken place in the parents' bedroom. We know the
Right.
feminine side is working because we see the feminine, the woman is a staff member. That's what working for him. So he's saying it in the dream, this is working for me. So we know all the issues now are on dad's side. But this is not a negative. This is really fantastic to see when you're working on issues around mom and you do it and you do it and you do it. And then your dreams show women in a positive way like this. And they'll only do it for a short while, like to let you know that the work is done, but they'll do it for a short while. But the real way you know that work is done well is the switch to the other parent or to the next issue that you have. And it might be a big, deep issue like working on stuff around dad. In his case, it's not as bad as mom stuff. Or it might be something else that's not as deep. So our dreams will show us the deep stuff first, do that work, and then new things will come up. But we know he's still working on the foundational stuff way back because it starts off in his parents' bedroom. If it
Yeah.
moved timeline and he said, hey, I was in the house that I was in when I was around age 15, then you know, okay, he's dealt with all the earlier stuff. He's now working on later stuff.
Very interesting. What I find interesting is he doesn't remember her name and he has to apologize to ask her to tell him her name. So, what's going on around that?
So he said he was frightened around dad because he never knew what he would say. He was always embarrassed by dad's conversation. And so he's apologetic in conversation because of the influence of dad.
Mm. And then forgetting her name, that he worked hard to try to remember it.
Well, that just shows you that this negative influence of dad is so strong that it throws him off his stride.
Yeah. Okay. I think I got it. Wow, that sounds very interesting. And so he's working on dad now, then, it sounds like.
Absolutely. That just sounds like we see it in the dream.
All right, that was great, Michael. I like the way you summarized that. And it's very interesting to have a masculine dream where he's working on masculine and a feminine dream that he gets to see that all the hard work he did on fixing his feminine is now resolved. And dad is now the issue that he has to work on. I liked how clear that was. So let's move on to our next set of dreams, and this one is from Frank, and it's titled Swimming in a Huge Oceanic Pool. Ooh, I like the sound of that. I'm at a place that has a huge aquarium that you can swim in. It is a part of an exhibit like a museum. I go with a group, no one I know. I jump in, and they take us into an area that has coral and fish. It looks just like the ocean floor. I find myself less interested in what the group is doing and move away, keeping them in sight. As I swim around, I see huge fish. It scares me, but it doesn't seem to be inquisitive and does not move towards me. Then I see one person separating a big piece of white coral from another and think, that's dangerous. It could be some underwater home. The guy pulls off a huge chunk and it floats to the bottom. I go to see it up close and it is smooth, roundish, off white, empty shell. I swim to the surface and get out. I see a guard and tell him that the pool is the best I've ever been in, and he agrees. Fantastic. That's a fun dream, Michael. Okay, let's see what you have to say about it.
It is fun, but look, he sees issues with a guy in the dream.
Ah,
So masculine energy again, all the dreams this week focusing on that. And he's been told by this dream to do his own thing. Like he moves away from the group. The groups are about spiritual leadership. He is a spiritual leader, but he's to do his own thing. And your own thing is more masculine energy, being independent, being unique. That's masculine energy. So already going in the right direction, but he has further to go. He helps people, but he doesn't know how he's doing it. This is when I channeled on it. Here's what I got. And they want him to find himself in the process. So this is always interesting. So like, I'm working with people, I'm helping people. I'm using this process of cutting the ties that bind that I use to help people. But I need to go beyond that. I need to go, what part is me? What am I bringing to the table here? How am I helping the people rather than how is the process helping the people? Because I've got it baked into my system now enough to where I can drive the healing and not be so focused on the process because I understand the process so well that I can now look at what is it I'm doing? How am I helping people? Does that make sense?
yeah, that's really cool.
So they also want him to take risks with how uncomfortable he feels. And here's the beautiful thing about it. When you're working on yourself, you find that you do the thing that your dreams are asking you to do. And you find yourself, instead of pushing yourself into an uncomfortable zone, you find that, hey, I was already doing that. That's really cool. And it wasn't uncomfortable for me.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so let's talk about the huge aquarium. Why an aquarium? Why not be in the ocean where it's not contained?
So aquariums are interesting in dreams. They represent our view of the spirit world. And what they said to him was they want him to work from a distance. That, you know, you can look at too much and get consumed with the detail. That's like the message to him. You can get consumed with the detail. And here he is in the tank instead of just enjoying it from the outside. How many aquariums do you actually get into? I mean, we've been to aquariums. None is the answer. So that's really what it should be. And so they want him to avoid getting into the detail and the nitty gritty with people and realize that he's able to work very well with people from a high level overview perspective. So, how can I help people given the same assistance with less of a toll on me? Being prudent and selective is going to give him the same result as getting in there into the water with people and pointing out all the nitty gritty stuff that they're doing that they need to fix. Does that make sense?
It does. Very interesting. I would not have put that together. So I like the way you did that. So we've got one person separating a big piece of off-white coral. So I'm interested in the off-white.
So off-white is typically about prophecy. So I see this, and that's not necessarily a good thing that this person is doing. And here's what's really interesting too. He sees all this going on, but then he doesn't say anything about it to the guard. He just says, "Hey, this is a great pool." So I thought that was funny that there was no follow-up. So anyway, he's too much in the weeds. Don't worry about what people are doing and where it's going to lead them. Step back. Now get the same results that you get with the people that you work with by staying at a higher level. And the advantage of that is going to be that he's going to be more surgical because he's going to be watching and go, okay, here's what I need to tell this person. Here's what's going on. I don't need all of that other detail. I'm just going to be surgical. And when you can get good at that, you can help a lot more people. I think a good way to compare these would be a counselor helps somebody on a one-to-one basis and they hold their hand as they take them on their journey. And that's fantastic. Absolutely an amazing skill. What counselors do is absolutely amazing for people if you're a good counselor. What a spiritual leader can do is help a whole group of people. They don't hold their hand all the way, or they hold their hand briefly for periods and say, there's the door. That's the way you need to go. If you have any issues with it, let me know and I'll help you. This is good for people who just need direction and they need the right motivation. They understand, oh, this is what I need to do. This is going to be good for me. And that's where most people are at. And if you hit somebody that needs a lot more work, then you can help them with that by maybe directing them to somebody else who's going to be able to help them with that lot more work. But that's where he's at. He's moving now to a level where he understands how to help people on a one-to-one basis because he's helped so many people on a one-to-one basis. And then now he can run a room where if different people ask questions, he can lean on what he's already learned and go, oh, okay, I've seen this before, and here's what you need to do there. But he doesn't need to hold their hand to understand it anymore because he's already got it built into him. So now they're like, step back, stay high level, understand what you're bringing to the table. Like there is the process, there is the work that the person's doing, but you're also bringing something else too. And we want you to understand yourself. And I've said this many times on the show before, that spiritual work is not about you altruistically helping somebody else. There is always a gain for you in the work that you're doing. And this dream, or at least his guides through this dream, are calling out that part of what he's doing is to help himself. And so they want him to understand himself through the very work of helping other people.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. One more question on the dream. What is the huge fish about? Is there anything special about it?
I like that it doesn't throw him off, that he sees that huge fish and he stays in the tank, but he should never have been in the tank in the first place. So it's like he still has fears in the spiritual field. He still has things he needs to overcome. And that's going to be for all of us. You said earlier about the last dreams. I like how the dream showed he's finished with the feminine and he's now on the masculine. I would never tempt fate and say I'm finished with working on the feminine. It's going to be kind of like a step ladder. Two step ladders is kind of the way to think about it. You've got a feminine energy step ladder and a masculine energy step ladder, but you're only allowed to have 1 foot on each. So you can't climb one ladder. And so you can climb up so far on the feminine, and then you must balance the masculine. You don't have masculine and feminine on the same seesaw. They're different ones. So you got to balance the feminine. That'll get you a few feet up on the ladder there. And then balance the masculine, and that allows you to climb up further on the masculine ladder. And we are a balance of both. We have to get both balanced independently so that we can climb all the way to the top. And the further up we get to the top, the more the energies intertwine and the more the masculine will help the feminine. So if I'm, say, a spiritual leader, which is feminine energy, which is what this dream is talking about for him to do because of the groups. But now they want him to understand his own masculine side. Eventually, your masculine side creates the stage to amplify the work that you're doing with a feminine energy gift. That it creates the boundaries, that it makes people not challenge you. It does lots of other things that creates the space for you to excel at doing the other things that you do, even though it might be a different energy.
Wow, that was beautiful. Are you ready to move on to the next
Of
dream, Michael?
course.
All right. I like the title of this one. My apartment building falls over. It's from Joe. So I kind of guess this is going to be an interesting one. I'm in my apartment in San Francisco with a male friend. As we talk, The building starts to shake and falls over into the street. I am not hurt. Phew. People are running around everywhere. Where am I going to live and how are we going to fix this? I'm glad I'm alive.
Okay, see that last part? You never want to see that in a dream. Somebody saying in a dream, I'm glad I'm alive, because that tells you straight away they are not glad they're alive. And the dream is trying to get them to be happy that they're alive. We know it's masculine energy again because a building collapses, the structure collapses. Masculine energy is all about structure. And he's also with a male friend. And so he's talking to the male friend, working on the masculine. And then we see, oh, wait, there's a lot of work to do here because we see this collapse. He says he's not hurt. He is hurt. Absolutely, he's hurt. Hurt with issues around dad because there's a man in the dream. So still, what the dream's doing, focusing on the masculine and letting him know that he didn't have the support that he expected, that he needed, and that he's not happy to be alive. So working on this stuff around dad is going to help fix that for him.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm glad to see that. What about the people running around everywhere? Kind of chaos.
So he thinks he's okay. Like, oh, I survived that. I'm not hurt and I'm glad to be alive. That's the mistake that we make as adults. We go, hey, somebody's saying I need to work on issues from my childhood, but I'm 30 and I'm fine and I'm no longer a child, so I told them to get lost. It's like, that's not how it works. You are everything in the dream. That's the first rule of dream interpretation. So all these people who aren't you in the dream, who are possibly hurt and who are running around in a state of chaos and confusion, that's really what's happening you under the hood. And you need to do the work to heal that so that you do get to this point where you actually are glad you're alive and you do no longer feel hurt.
Wow, that is beautiful. Let's move on to the next stream there, Michael. And this is from Ralph. And the title is Dad is Grousing About How I Do the Dishes. Oh my, this ought to be interesting. I'm in the kitchen at the sink washing dishes. Yay! The sink stainless steel, about half the normal size. Kate and Dad are putting dishes either in the sink or around it so I can wash them. Dad is moody and fussing. He's in the way a bit, so I slowly do a dish. Then he starts to do the dishes with me. I say to him, "What's up?" And he grouses at me about how I'm doing the dishes. I ask him what's wrong with the way I'm doing the dishes, encouraging him to go away. I get quiet and channel, realizing he just wants to spend time with me. So I let him mumble about something, then we start chatting. I realize that this is intimate and know he wants me nearby. I relax and let it happen.
All right. Do you see how great that dream is? So we see the typical, I don't want to be around dad. And then we see here, they embrace dad at the end instead of like, oh, this is horrible, because that's the sentiment. That's how it starts. It's like, oh, I get it. I get what the issue is here. And he just wants my company. And so symbolically, what's happening here is the dreamer is hitting a point where they are not rejecting their masculine side because of the issues with dad. They are now at a point of going, okay, I'm going to allow the masculine to be beside me. And it's done so well here because it actually is dad. It doesn't need to be somebody else symbolically, like we had in other dreams from other people where it's a good looking Asian guy. So here it's actually dad. And I'm happy to chat with dad. And he realized like what's really happening under the surface. Also, interestingly, working on sinks is typically to do with the masculine side. Often in dreams, these sinks are at the front of the house, often outside the house. So it is still all matches masculine energy being worked on. We see how the size of it is half the normal size. That brings us back to childhood. It's a small sink. And when we see small things, tiny things in dreams, it's usually bringing us back to when we were tiny, when we were small.
It's very interesting, though. He allows it to be intimate and he understands that he wants his dad nearby. So that's his masculine side?
Yeah, so he rejects his masculine. That's what we see typically, not unique to this dreamer. But if you look at all the other dreams that have gone on, we typically reject our feminine or reject the masculine. The majority of dreams are going to be about the feminine, that we need to work on issues around the feminine. Earlier we saw somebody who's worked on the feminine and the dream switched to the masculine. And that's fantastic to see. Ultimately, he's not rejecting the masculine. He's doing the work around dad that is healing the issues. And now he's accepting his own masculine side. The dad is a symbol in the dream to show where the reasons for you rejecting the masculine come from. So to have him in the dream and not be rejected, I mean, he starts out being rejected, but ultimately he's embraced in a very positive way. That's super in the dream. We don't even need to put somebody else in as a surrogate that you won't reject. Here we have dad and him being accepted, so it's quite positive. Another thing I will say is because we see him bothered by dad encroaching in his space, you then have to go, okay, we see other things that you're meant to do, leadership and so on, or whatever happens to be for you. Do you hold yourself back because you don't want to overstep other people's boundaries? And if you do, then that's an issue you got to deal with. This is one of the reasons you got to embrace the masculine, because a lot of the time people think they get karma for influencing a person in a positive way. Like, who am I to say it? Even though I know the answer, who am I to tell this person what they need to do? That's rejecting the masculine. You will get karma for not helping a person when you can help them. But you don't get karma if you try to help somebody and you get it wrong. It's going to be part of his issue on the other side. That's always how it is. The things that we're working on here, embracing the masculine, are things that we need to do because we reject it in the spirit world.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love the fact at the end that he is starting to embrace the masculine. Is there anything else you would like to talk about, Michael? Like maybe the link for the mentorship course that has just started? We've only had 1 week and there's still
Absolutely.
space.
Yeah, dream-analysis.com/Sandy. You can talk to Sandy then about all the details. dream-analysis.com/courses. You can look up all the details about the mentorship program on the website there, but then book Sandy to ask any questions you have about it. We'd love to have you there. It's always exciting. We always get a few people that join in the first 3 or 4 weeks, but it's a really good group already. Great energy in it. So loving it. And you will too.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a super week and I hope you enjoyed our show. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.